shortly. Please remain calm. Thank you for your understanding. SecBot is on the way and will end your life shortly. Please remain calm. Thank you for your understanding.
too late for that, but we can sell.
Well, I don't want to continue wasting your time. Would you say that another one of your goals?
No, I don't want to hear. No, I don't want. Stop with your fucking fake questions. Just say what you think, and then I'll say what I think. Would you say? No, I would say whatever the fuck I'm about to say is what I would say. We'll all figure out what that is. What would you say? If you were gonna say what
it's on the way, and will end your life shortly. Please remain.
I think you want people to have. I think you want to set a new social norm where people aren't coddling each other in conversations. Do you think this is what you think?
I don't like conversations where people are coddling each other all the time. It's not like a general rule I'm trying to impose on other people. It's more like I want to create a path where maybe we don't have to. What do you think?
I don't think I agree that you don't want to force it on others. It feels like you, well, or at least you propose it to others, and then if people don't want to engage with it, you're like, okay, we can stop talking to me, or you switch the conversation. But it feels like you open up conversations, actively trying not to clarify things, and even sometimes actively trying to not make yourself look like you're trying to make yourself look good. So I don't think that's true.
They say, oh no, I want to have it my way. If their way is more common, then I'm imposing my way on them. Aren't they also imposing their way on them?
Yeah. But I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about what you're doing. I'm asking if that's a thing you do.
You also say that what I'm doing is not pressure.
Sure. If you want to frame it differently, you could say that.
Well, I am asking why you're framing it as like a world conquest instead of, an innocent little fucking flower flapping around in a rainstorm trying to hold on to my petals.
I didn't realize I was framing it that way. That was unintentional. Anyway, so I think you do that, but you also want people to have more empathy for each other. The point of me calling is that I don't think these two goals are compatible, and if you try to achieve one, you're going to end up sacrificing the other.
You think empathy is doing what other people say? How are they?
I don't think so. Why do you think that?
How is it conflicting? How is it unempathetic to not lie to me, or unempathetic to say what I'm thinking, or unempathetic to be uncompromising? What does compromise have to do with empathy?
I don't know why we're talking about compromising.
Because you're saying that I'm different ways than others. What would the alternative to that be?
Oh, okay. Let me walk you through my thought process. Maybe it'll make more sense.
I don't want you to do that. I want to acknowledge that the alternative to what you are saying. If I want to talk to somebody a certain way, and they don't want to, the only choices are I can talk to them the way I want to, or I can compromise. It sounds like you're suggesting.
I don't think you're.
It sounds like you're suggesting.
I don't think you're understanding my question.
I don't think you're asking a question.
Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm having a hard time asking it. But there's a question I'm trying to get out, and I don't think you're answering whatever that is.
Okay.
So, when you're an online figure, and the way you come across is you don't want to cave in.
Okay.
Well, it's leading to a question.
Just say the question. We don't have time. We don't have time. I have to end this. What is the question?
When you're trying to set this new social standard, social norm online, I don't think people, but you're also trying to get people to be more empathetic with each other. I don't think people will receive the message of you. I don't think people will receive the message of them needing to be more empathetic with other people, because they're probably going to be shut down at your attempt to break down social norms. Them seeing you breaking down social norms is going to turn more people away from you than not. So they're not going to receive the empathy message. That's why I think they're conflicting.
I don't think brainwashing is sympathetic. I don't agree with you that in order to get my message across that we should be calling for serving across the board or calling for other people. That I should, you see how it would be disrupting my own view of how people should treat each other, other people to trick them into agreeing with me, when if I said what I was actually thinking, I'm not trying to get everybody to agree with me. That's like inherently oppositional to what I would like. I want people to disagree with me. Not everybody, but some people. This is what I'm saying is like, listen, you came in and you're like, what are you trying to do? And I'm like, I'm trying to show people a way how I communicate. And yes, give it as like an option for how people could communicate. I'm not trying to get everybody to
Sec bomb is on the way.
And you're like, well, I
will end your life shortly. Please remain calm. Thank you for
why
your
do you
understanding.
like, well, you know what I think you should do? Because I think you should make it easier for people to swallow this pill as a Trojan horse so that you can then get everybody to communicate the same way. But I just said I don't want to do that. I want to flash.
I'm saying
flashing people means that I'm not brainwashing them. They're not I don't want everybody to agree with me. That scares me.
I didn't say I wanted people to agree with you either. I'm more talking to people receiving your message.
I know, but when you when you say, you know, if you were to do it differently, all I hear is that you want
how would it be that? Maybe just so we're on the same page, what does that mean to you when you say brainwash them?
So that they will do and think what I want them to do. Crafting, altering my communication. So, for the purpose of making it better, rather than it being expressed better. I'm putting high priority on, I want to express the way I feel, the way I think. And you're saying, well, that's bouncing off of me. I think that it would Bill Gates microchip. Like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to agree with me or be like.
That's fine. I think if you do that, I don't think many people are going. You're not going to get many people to actively try and empathize with other people. That's my point. But if you're okay with that, then that's fine.
Well,
I'm just saying that would be a problem for you.
There's a tension between being honest and encouraging honest. And then craft and tailoring that to get a maximal effect of like encouraging honesty. I don't like the idea of being dishonest to get other people
to get them to be honest, to get them to empathize with people.
By lying.
If you do it that way, sure, yeah, by lying. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. I'm just saying, I don't think you can get people, I don't think you can get that many people to empathize with, or you're not going to get, like, you're not going to reach as many people to get them to empathize.
Then I will fucking
want that. I guess so, yeah. But if you're okay with that, then that's not a problem by me. Or I guess by you either. Yeah, true. In this case, also, probably. Well, actually, do you think the reach that you have now is a failure? Yeah. Okay. Do you think the reach you have now is, do you consider a failure?
You could always...
think you didn't answer my question. Okay.
When I'm in a bad mood, I feel like, and when I'm in a good mood, I feel like God. Right now, I'm on these muscles, and they make me feel like no, I don't feel like a failure. I feel like an incredible success, a beacon of hope, a rainbow somehow miraculously in the shape of a smiling face.
Okay. What about later when you don't feel that way?
Then I feel like a failure.
And that's it.
Just another streamer. Yeah.
Okay. I think that's a very healthy way to look at it. You didn't ask, I just felt like saying it. I don't think I am. Why? I think a certain level of deception is necessary, but I know you disagree with that.
I do. And thank you for calling. I'll talk to you.
Of course. Thank you for talking.
Wow, the literal devil call. The beacon is close, that's right. Alright, baby, I'm ready for a fucking another one. What a creep. That guy was bad. I like the bisexual lighting. I think this is trans lighting. Technically. He was okay. Stop simping. I have a question. Is therapy a positive form of brainwashing? I don't think therapy should be like brainwashing. I think therapy should be like talking to somebody who's gonna listen and understand you. Therapy is when somebody understands you and makes space for you and they get close to you and they also grow up. Baby, bring on the schizo.
Whoa,
The real
what?
doll. Wait.
Sorry.
We have a super chat. $5 from French. The real doll review was challenging the Sith. The honest approach both of you took with it made me think. Thank both of you for all their work. Thank you very much. You should interview the live streamer Alice. She's on a death spiral of meth, group sex, cutting, and self-harm. She needs help. She has 15k followers. You want me to go save myself? Alice did. Based on what you said, it's just need a streamer intervention. She probably needs an actual intervention. Okay.
Hello. I wish I had like watched more of your trans-related content to like know everything about what you think. I did some. I was watching your trans interviews or whatever your trans series was when it was coming out, as it was coming out. It was like kind of like a self-hating pornographic thing for me. Like I was like, oh my god, like what he says is so wrong or whatever. It was just a whole thing. Anyway, so basically, I just mean that it's hard for me to watch content. Yeah, I'm trans. Is that okay? Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay.
I've just noticed that I've noticed a few trans people that use my content to self-harm.
Yeah.
And if I think that you're doing
I'm not doing that now. I was doing that before, I guess.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, cause not not gonna lie, that was one of my prior criticisms towards your content. I don't really think about it nowadays, but like from my experience, like watching your content was like very, I don't know, weighing on my conscience or whatever. So like I was like, is it really good that Mr. Goal is out here like promoting his medical ideas when like the doctors are saying otherwise? What do you think about that? Well, I'm just specifically basically talking about like condition, like a medical condition.
Yeah, I quoted doctors.
Yeah.
I agree. Right? I wasn't speaking as a doctor, not my medical ideas, but I am explaining the medical ideas that I agree with.
Okay.
Good or bad?
I don't remember exactly which doctors you quoted. I feel like I remember you were quoting one of them.
It's on the way.
Was basically saying
your
like,
life shortly. Please
wasn't
remain
somebody
calm.
saying that like
Thank you for your understanding.
the current process is like kind of sloppy? Was that one of the quotes? Yeah.
That was a trans doctor who does gender research who's on the board of so I think quoting a doctor who's on the board of the World Organization for Transgender Health is a fair person to quote. I don't think that's insane. We should ignore the science, listen to this quack that person's job. The person is trans, and her job is to make public statements about what is best for them.
Okay. Well, what I feel is bad is basically that like in my mind it's like, oh, ideally Mr. Go at the end of each video he would say, but you should listen to medical consensus or whatever. That's what I'm thinking. But do you think otherwise? It's kind of cringe to be fair, but I don't know. If we were to be truly responsible, do you disagree?
I see what you're saying, but I don't think that there is a medical consensus. Both, at least in the public, in the eyes of the public, both sides believe there is a medical consensus in their favor of whether trans people are really the wrong gender, or the right gender in the wrong body, or whether gender exists as like a physical both sides seem to believe that the science agrees with them and are saying everybody disagrees with
I don't really get it, because I feel like does science really make comments on whether like gender is real or whatever? It just says like transitioning has positive effects or whatever. Isn't that like what the scientific consensus would be? Like, how could there be a consensus about gender in science?
Okay, but if you look at suicide rates, okay, and they don't go down, then one side says, okay, well, so it's not fixing anything. But on the other side, somebody said this to me, and I said, well, you don't know how many people would have killed themselves if they didn't transition. So maybe they went down from what it would have been if they hadn't transitioned. And then the other side says, well, people self-report feeling happier after they transition, so we know this is the most effective treatment. And it being the most effective treatment doesn't mean it's like an acceptable treatment just because it's the most effective. That doesn't mean like it could be the most effective, but still it's a horrible treatment that is like not good enough. And then also, yeah, maybe people are happier after the transition, or maybe they just say they're happier after the transition because they feel like they have to. I don't know. So like both sides will look at that information and say like, see, the science agrees with me. Like, I agree with what you're saying that like the real disagreement here is more philosophical disagreement, not necessarily medical disagreement. I think it is worth noting that some medical professionals think one way and some think the other way. But I guess I'm speaking as a philosopher, not as a doctor. When I'm not making medical claims. So then at the end of the video, if I say like, well, you should trust like the science, as you said, like science is not really, well, you know, I don't think that's fair to say that science isn't tasked with finding out whether the gender is like an actual thing that's like different. Like they are trying to find that, and they haven't.
Well, I think they like make comments on it to make the science make sense or whatever.
Sec
To like frame
It's
the
on the way.
science.
And mark your life shortly. Sec bombs remain. It's on the way. Thank you. Mark your life shortly.
Okay. What it means to us.
But you say like, oh, I don't give medical advice. It's more like philosophical or whatever. But isn't it medical? Because the message I get when I watch your videos, etc., I got.
Thank you for your understanding.
I don't know. Maybe this is like a forbidden topic to you because you were talking about, oh, are you talking about your self-harm or whatever? Is it okay if I talk about how it's personally hurting me or whatever? I don't know.
Yeah, you can talk about how I hurt you, I just don't want you to hurt yourself.
Okay. Oh yeah, isn't it? Because the message that I got from watching your videos, I don't know if it was intended, maybe I didn't watch it closely, I don't know. Was like basically like bodily modifications are bad. That's one of the messages among
Thank
other
you for your understanding.
And like, wouldn't that be a medical advice or?
I think I tried to couch that pretty firmly. I am personally horrified by all
Okay.
in my videos or on stream because you're right. I'm not an authority. I'm not in a position to give advice.
Issuing W.
All I can say is that is what how it strikes me. And like, yeah, if you're trying to extrapolate advice,
Please obtain.
I can see how that's kind of my fault, but it's not on purpose.
Okay. It's like weird too. Okay, so when you say like when you talk about body modifications, that's meant to be taken as your sort of I don't want to say emotional in the like dismissive sounding way,
Yes,
but like
it's
emotional
how
response.
It's,
how you feel.
I'm trying to disclose my emotions about it, so that you understand that this is not my cold, calculated, hyper-intellectual response. And I wish more people would do that. Like when you watch Ben Shapiro talk about gender, he's clearly freaking out. And I think that it would be better if you just acknowledge that he's freaking out and talk about why, so that you can kind of contextualize what you're hearing instead of mistaking his emotional outburst for a fervent declaration that like what I'm saying is true.
Okay.
Like it's more. It's just what I think.
So me personally, like I feel like bottom surgery is kind of scary, just like every other surgery, really, like even like heart surgery is scary. So like obviously bottom surgery is also gonna be scary. So I understand that part, but I don't really get like, do you feel like horrified by HRT as well? Because like in my mind it's just like you take pills and it kind of changes you. Like I don't really see the horror in it. It makes you sterilized, I guess.
I got prescribed also for back.
Oh, am I offline?
What? The French is double 07. No. Because the line is the CP equivalent to the 16 Tenacious D reference. You know our movie's better than the 16. Not in person. I do like Tenacious D. Lance Legstrom, $20. Yo, my homeboy said you said you wanted to talk to me. He said that I had to go easy on you. excited about this shirt. I can't sell this shirt for copyright reasons. Hopefully, a certain somebody doesn't sue me for it. Hey, come on. Come on. You know? I think it's time we admit the truth. Alright. Baby. I'm ready for the next one. Oh wait, are you here? Alright, baby, I need somebody else, because this guy, I don't have it. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Well, she sues me. I'll just have to prove that I'm a level 6 in court. I don't think that'll be too hard. Where that...
I will be filing a special commendation for your assistance in updating our paperwork.
Oh, wow.
Validating vessel readiness. Current location, Sargasso Nebula.
I'm okay.
Citizen card registration complete.
I'm okay, Charlie.
Thank you, Cloud, for restarting the FTL drive.
Disheveled today. You doing okay?
No.
Now,
not really.
let's get you desiccated in preparation for FTL travel.
What have you been working on?
And I'm on these pills.
I've noted your application to remain in
Oh, yeah, the
hydrated
muscle
form.
relaxers.
Yeah.
Good news. Your
Are you taking
application
that, or
has
can I
been
ask? I don't want to
rejected.
be
I got a back stab.
intrusive.
My back's killing me. I've been in bed all day.
Is that
Woke
from
up.
carrying the weight of the YouTube scene?
Yes.
Lovely. We never really watched the back before.
Vax unit reporting late
Can I
arrival.
ask? I don't know. I don't want to
Due
be
to
intrusive.
staff turnover, operational matters were outsourced to clients. Some clients have been prematurely released from care due to end-of-life events.
You don't want to answer that. Okay, I'm going to plead the fifth on that one. That's okay. But Matt, there's just a couple of things I want to talk to you
Special
about.
commendation awarded.
Hold on,
10 merits credited to client account.
I can combine the two.
File note. Illegal client
okay, well,
activities
okay.
include forgery, murder,
Alright,
theft,
first of all, I
release
wanted
of
to talk
plasma
about-
on WCG property.
I don't want to
and
hear
sexual
first of all. I already know you want to talk to me. I know there's
Recommendation.
something you want to talk to me about. 'cause you already
Indefinite
followed me on the show.
detention.
I need you to just go.
Okay.
Hit me,
Max,
Charlie.
what the fuck was going on with this fucking real doll video?
Nice. Okay. Can you be more specific?
What
Sure, I
on
understand.
earth did I watch?
You watched
No, really?
it? No, it's a documentary about what happened when I allowed a doll to move.
Okay, but why do you feel like... Okay, can I ask you a few questions about that, or am I not the sort of person that's...
You can't ask this question. You can ask a question that actually has a point, but you can't ask me if you can ask questions. That's not allowed. Stop prefacing. Stop dicking.
Why is that not allowed, Max?
I know we've already
Since
been
when
we've already been talking for like
We're gonna do this.
You have not said a goddamn motherfucker. I need
Okay.
you. If you have a question, ask it. If you have a comment that's disguised as a question,
Max,
you can just go ahead and
Max, I understand the purpose of what you're saying right now. Don't worry, just bear with me, okay? We're working on it. I'm a slow talker.
I
What
will
was
be
the purpose of that
Current
video?
location.
What were you trying to show? Because I've been following your content, Max, and you know, you first popped onto the scene. Well, you've been on a while, by the way, but the first time I saw you was, you know, around Destiny, watching all these things. I thought, oh, it's quite interesting. This guy's some red pill / black pill opinions. Oh, quite interesting. Then it started to get a bit more weird, where you're giving these like edgy opinions on things.
Dude, everybody
And then-
knows this. Everybody knows what happened. Everybody knows. You don't need to go through your personal
Okay,
experience.
sorry, I didn't realize.
What is
everybody
your
was...
fucking question?
What was the purpose of that video? Was it an artistic pursuit? Were you trying to showcase something? Was that your real life?
That is my real life.
The way you treat Shaylin is 100% real life.
Okay, so it took us 5 minutes, but we've got to the real question. And the real question is, in the doll video, Max, are you and Shaylin acting, or is that a real conversation that you had? Is that the question?
Yes, I suppose. But I'm also referencing the other conversations you've had with her on videos on your YouTube. I'm sure you know what I mean, where you're quite confrontational and aggressive, and you're shutting down what she's saying. And I'm wondering, is that the actual how your relationship goes, or is that just a sort of...
Well, do you think that? Do you think I'm acting now?
Maybe.
Okay.
I'm
not acting.
struggling.
I can see that.
That was good. I like that.
Okay. Shaylin is my girlfriend, and she's not an actress.
Okay.
And I'm
I
me,
believe that.
and I'm me. I'm not an actor. And when I film our conversation, I'm very committed to the idea of honesty and presenting things as bluntly as possible. And so while it is true that introducing a camera to a situation does change how people interact with each other, I am committed to trying to be as authentically myself and present the interaction as authentically as I can, while admittedly editing it for time and interestingness. So the answer to your question is, to the best of my abilities, I am am presenting my real life as really as I possibly can.
Okay, and do you think you are an actually good partner? I'm not making an assumption about you and your relationship here. There are things that you've said on your stream and your videos. I don't want to hear
this part.
Okay.
What is your question? Do I think I'm an actually good partner?
Yeah. Do you think it's okay to say things like, I should never compliment my girlfriend, they don't deserve a compliment, it's disgusting to compliment my girlfriend?
I never said that.
You have? You've said on your stream, I've never complimented my girlfriend before.
I've never said she doesn't deserve a compliment. I've said, here's what I said. I said, when you compliment your girlfriend, while you may be making her feel better in the moment and reassuring her about something she feels bad about and giving her a sugary little boost of self-esteem, in fact, you are putting yourself in a role of evaluating her as though you are her boss or her teacher or her parent. And I think that you should be aware that you're doing this. I really don't like being in those roles, so I try to stay out of them. And I find that complimenting somebody does not actually make them feel good or loved in a long-term way.
Okay,
I don't like being complimented for the same reason.
Max, just because you think that way...
I've said that I think it is unethical, at least for me, this is what I believe, to compliment my girlfriend as a way to give her a sugary little boost, make her feel good, or ultimately make myself feel good. And I've said that there's another masturbatory part of complimenting people where it feels good to compliment other people, and then later it leaves them with questions of like, well, why did you say I was pretty 29 days ago, but you didn't say I was pretty today?
I know everything you're saying.
So to distill that into that she doesn't deserve to be complimented is a little dishonest.
No, okay. Everything you're saying is logically consistent. That's the problem with you. You'll make logically consistent arguments that don't necessarily make moral reality. For example, what you're saying is okay. You're giving some reasoning, some chain of logic.
Will you admit that your characterization of why I don't compliment Shaylin was completely wrong?
I think it's completely wrong, your rationalization that you just made.
That's fine, but you said that I said she doesn't deserve for me to compliment her. Do you now acknowledge that do you acknowledge that what I said was that I think compliments harm the relationship, at least for me, in my relationship, and kind of from my perspective, I think it's wrong to compliment people. I think it's controlling and, like,
that's ridiculous, harmful. Max. That's ridiculous.
It's fine if you don't agree with me, but if I say something you don't agree with, I implore you to still remember what it is I said, instead of changing it to something that makes more sense to you, and then saying I said that instead.
Okay, so I will grant you whatever you said,
You'll
Max.
grant me that what you grant you whatever you said.
I paraphrased you incorrectly, and what you've said, but I heavily disagree with what you've just said as being entirely not only deluded, but morally wrong.
If you disagree with something somebody says.
Well, the point is here that we have a disagreement and we should chat about it. The whole point isn't that you have an idea that's different to mine and we just say, oh, we've got different ideas, let's just settle it. What's the point in that? Do you think can I ask you a question, or, you know, why am I even up? It's ridiculous that I haven't even have to ask. You've got some sort of moral superiority already existing in this call, by the way, which is kind of crazy.
Saying, can I ask you a question? It's a question, and it's not a very good question. Would you have another question you'd like to ask?
Yeah.
Do you want me to be sweet?
I do actually. I've got a real
space for you that I don't make for Shaylin. It's okay, sweetie. Go ahead and ask your real question, babe. Okay. You look so nice today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got a real question, actually, another one. You know, you spoke before about how you wanted to climb the career ladder as a filmmaker, I believe, right?
Climb what?
You wanted to be a filmmaker, I believe, right?
Oh yeah, I wanted to be a filmmaker. And now I am.
Yeah. How do you feel? Do you still have aspirations to be a filmmaker?
Like a Hollywood filmmaker?
Yeah, because I think you mentioned that before.
I don't know if I have an aspiration, but I would love to someday.
But do you not think for example, the real doll video, do you not think that
do I not think sounds like you're going to say what you think? So why don't you just say, I think, and then you can say what you think, and then I'll say what I think.
Okay, Max. I think that your aspiration is to be a mainstream creator in a video space like a filmmaker might clash with the content you put out. For example, a real girl, the real doll video, for example. How do you feel about that? How do you feel like the idea of the content that you're artistically pursuing contradicts with a mainstream career?
This is something I have thought about ever since I moved to LA. when I moved to LA, and I met Bob Weinstein. Was my first development executive meeting was with Bob Weinstein.
Okay.
And then I met some other development executives and talked about scripts and pitched scripts to them, and went to some Hollywood parties and getting drinks with people and managers and stuff. And it became very quickly apparent to me that my style of communication, not even what I say, but just the way I speak to people, is completely unacceptable socially in Hollywood.
It is.
The most unacceptable place. In Hollywood, you're not even really supposed to make eye contact with people for more than half a second in Hollywood. You're not supposed to say what you think. You're not supposed to say what you feel. You're supposed to pretend that whatever status symbols the other person has, house, clothes, car, are super impressive to you. And everybody's so fake that, like, it's almost open fakeness. And if you...
I agree with that. I totally agree with that.
And if you acknowledge it in any way, then you're like an outcast immediately. So I did really badly in all the situations because I was like, I really don't want to interact this way. So I think even then I was like, not even the art I want to make, but just the way I want to fucking talk to people, I think is gonna be a real stumbling block for me.
Yeah, that makes sense actually. I have the same thing in my work.
I'm a pretty uncompromising person, and I think that if I were to ever make a Hollywood movie, I think what would have to happen is I would have to make so much money and have such a big audience that either I can just produce it myself, or some producers like, well, yeah, this guy's made a lot of weird shit, but ultimately it's about money. It's an investment. Like, the question is some company going to invest in me and want me to make a movie for them someday? Like, maybe.
So,
I honestly don't know.
So what's the dream for you? Is it to be fitting into the mainstream or crafting your own sort of angle?
My dream is to... No, yeah, I don't want to fit into the mainstream, obviously.
But it used to be that way, right?
Just fucked a doll's severed head.
Yeah, I watched that. It was great, mate. By the way, it was good effort.
Okay, so obviously I'm not trying to make it into the mainstream. No, that I didn't want to make it into the mainstream for you. Like this shit, I wrote a script about a cat that convinces a high school senior that he's gay. A popular cat.
Yeah, I read that article you wrote it for a paper once at uni, right? About the women don't deserve orgasms, something like that. Am I wrong?
That's about women can't have orgasms.
That was a great piece of literature. Right. Very well.
Well, I'm glad that we could end on an amicable note. Is there anything else you want to say?
Oh, yeah, one quick thing. You know how we used to run advice and confessions?
Yeah.
Right. Why do you think it is that people come to you for advice? And do you think you actually are deserving of asking for advice? Or do you think you just happen to be somebody in a position where they ask you because they want to be on maybe a podium?
Well, it sounds like you think they're asking because they maybe want to be on the podium.
No, that's not what I think, actually, Max. I was just phrasing it that way. You just made an assumption about what I think.
You're giving me that as an option.
I'm giving you that as an option, Max.
It's like, think of a number through 1 through 10. Maybe it'll be 4. What number are you?
Yeah, that's exactly what I did. No, really, no. Okay, so I have this. You've got advice professionals. People come to you, right? And sometimes I think maybe this guy's not the exact person you'd want for advice on certain topics. People come to you for relationship advice, for example, and I don't necessarily deem the way you run your relationships as being totally healthy. So I think, okay, why do people come? And then I wonder why they're there at all, asking these genuine questions. And I thought, why do you think people are there? It doesn't matter what I think. I might have my own overarching opinions, Mags, but ignore mine. What I think don't matter. Why do you think people come to you for advice? Do you think you're valid for giving advice? Do you think you give good advice?
Oh, I'm valid. I think I give great advice. I think people think that I'm very good at doing a few certain things, and maybe they think I'm too good at it. But I think if they see like they see me as like like an overcorrection of being assertive or setting boundaries or whatever, or if they know I've struggled with something that they're trying to get over, then I think they'll ask me for advice because they'll be like, I think you'll have a unique perspective on this. Not necessarily that they want to be like me, but they think that from where I am, I'll be able to, offer something.
And do you think you have the experience that's required to answer all the different varied questions that come your way?
No. But I think I can just say what I think of them. I don't really give advice except for go to therapy. I think usually I'm just saying like, well, here's what I think of what you told me.
Here's what I think of what you told me. Okay. And why would your opinion matter? Not in a rude way. Or should it not matter? Does it not need to?
I don't know what I mean by matter. It matters to the people calling, and it certainly matters to me.
Does it actually matter though? Or do they just think it matters?
That's what mattering is when people think something matters.
Well, you've answered a lot of my... Well, there's things I want to discuss with you, Max, but I feel like I'm taking up a lot of your time.
Yeah, we have to end this.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine.
You know, we can circle back through and we can keep chipping away.
I want to touch back on Shaylin. Max.
I'm sure somebody else will, mention that issue.
Well, stay tuned in. I'll check it out. I thank you for your time, and I hope you have a good rest of your night and enjoy the rest of your film. Thanks, Mark. I'll leave.
Goodbye. Oh. This is such an uncomfortable. How join call? Join Discord, talk to baby, get in line. I don't give show on a label show about advice. Interesting. Well, that is interesting. I give advice to go to therapy. Mr. Girl, do you not think you're a horrible person? Thank you for the $2. Understanding my frustration with those types of questions. Is Death a horrible person? No, I'm not. Is the doll toast now? No, the doll's for sale. I'm gonna sell this fucking doll. Fetch me a good price for this doll. I'm even gonna get Shaylin to sell the toast. Shaylin loves. Let you see her. Well, I can see her feet sticking out of the dog. What am I gonna do? Oh. Alright. Next caller. How much did I pay for the doll? I didn't pay anything. I asked Real Doll for a reviewed sample copy of their product, and he sent me a doll for free. The doll was defective though. It didn't love me. No. The doll had like a seam issue. I don't think you can see it in the video, but they were like, we're gonna have to just throw this doll out.
Hello.
So, yeah. Hello. Oh yeah, baby, I'm ready. Baby, just keep him, baby. Hey, keep him. What's going on?
Not much, man. You recognize me?
Do I recognize you? No.
Yeah, from Twitter. Fuck, I DM'd you, man, ages ago about introspection illusion. I was gonna say, because you put on the level 6 t-shirt, it felt related. But let's move fast.
I recognize your name, but I don't recognize your voice.
Shit. Oh, of course not my voice. I haven't talked to you yet. The first time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck you're... Yeah, I don't...
Look, we'll move faster. We'll move faster. Alright, do you want the hot take, or, normally I
want you to not ask me questions about what...
Fuck you, okay. Okay, so, my hot take here. People on HRT are intersex. So, obviously we have to engage with, like, how you define sex. And I think we go from there, right?
Definitionally, I agree that people aren't... Well, I'm just saying if I take one little birth control pill on intersex, that's what make it. I say I disagree.
Well, okay, so then we have to engage with how you define sex then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you base it on?
Chromosomes, dick or pussy.
How do you weigh both? Do you mean like if they're both in alignment, then that's a man?
If you got XX and a pussy, then you're
and then XY and a pussy, that's intersex?
If you got XY and a pussy, then you're intersex. Yeah. And so, and if you're
what about like internal genitals?
Oh, internal genitals. I think if you have a pussy but you don't have ovaries, and you're XX, you're a little less of a female, but you're still female.
Yeah. What about secondary sexual characteristics like breasts, hip to waist
I think
ratio?
if you're flat-chested, but you got ovaries, a pussy, and you're XX, I would say you're completely female.
Completely female. Well,
yeah.
That's fair. It's, that falls in the sort of normal range for women, right? Flat-chested, they all have massive honkers.
That's
So,
right. That's right.
Yeah.
Following my.
So it sounds like you're taking. Seems like you're taking all the different components, right? And you're sort of just flat analyzing them, right? You sort of take them all into account.
You're starting to ask fake questions.
Fuck. Okay. Well,
Don't do that.
what about hormone profile? Is that included in your analysis? It's included in diagnosing disorders of sexual development.
I would say the way I think of male and female. Yeah, so if you've got a pussy, you're XX, but you have a gigantic beard and a low voice and huge muscles, I would say you're less female. Yeah.
You sort of fall into that intersex range.
Okay, I acknowledge that all of these different factors exist on a spectrum, and I acknowledge that you could make an argument that anyone is more male or less male than somebody else based on how you measure these factors. However, colloquially and functionally, you can put almost everybody into like they're just male or just female groups. And
I agree for most people, but obviously when we're
so then I think there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people who don't really fall into either group. Yes.
Yeah,
like 1% of people or something.
That's good, because
0.1% of people.
There's this weird contingent of people that think intersex doesn't exist, but luckily we're not there, so we'll move past that.
Okay.
So if you're analyzing, right, like essentially, like how can you discriminate out any of the sort of sexually dimorphic categories that exist in people and say that actually isn't involved in how we define your sex? If you're XX vagina, ovaries, but you have like a male hormone profile, how would you not call someone like that intersex?
It feels like you're leading me down a long, winding path. It feels like you're leading me somewhere. I wish you would just say what you think.
Well, I
might even
okay.
agree. So far, you asked me a bunch of hypothetical. You asked me a bunch of hypothetical. Wait. You asked me a bunch of hypothetical questions, which all added up to, do you believe in intersex people? And then when I said yes, except it took us 3 minutes to do it, you were like, oh. Well, we're like, well, how? Look at that. I guess we agree. So maybe if you give me a little trust, and you just start out by saying what it is you think and whatever it is you'd like to discuss, then we can actually have a conversation about it instead of you trying to convince me that I already think something that I don't think.
I'm not trying to do that to you. My initial statement was I went with a hot take, I think people in HRT are intersexed, and so let's say how I define sex. So I think that you should look at all the different.
I already know how you define.
Categories.
I know how you define sex because of your initial statement.
Then do you disagree with it, or are we Gucci?
I don't think they're intersex enough for me to use the word intersex. If somebody came up to me and said, "Hey, Max, I'm intersex," I wouldn't say, "Oh, so either you were born with like weird chromosomes or weird genitals, or you've started taking HRT." I can't wait for this conversation to continue so I can figure out which one it is. The word I would use to describe somebody who is on HRT is on HRT.
Yeah. You could use both though, right? But, like, biologically.
Well, you could use both, but I think the utility of the word intersex is it implies that through no decision of your own, you were born with a weird body.
I think it just means that, you have
You
components
didn't make your body in between. It just is genetically in between. So, okay, imagine if I cut my hand off.
Yeah.
And I say, and then there's some, like, genetic disorder that makes you be born without a hand. And I say I have that disorder. Like, well, no, cut your own hand. you may have ended up exactly like somebody who has that genetic disorder, but it's different. You got there through different ways.
I'd say that's different.
I just like the word intersex to mean like you're born.
That is inherent, that there's no, well, because my understanding would be that, you know, sex is how we classify that, you know, individual, that, you know, biological unit, and, you know, from the cell's perspective, that, you know, if the hormones are coming from within or without, it doesn't affect them, right? They're still, biologically, that thing is intersex. And so, you know, from a medical perspective, if you're trying to treat that person, that it'd be useful to understand that their biology isn't entirely male or isn't entirely female. So taking a realist approach. I understand that maybe we need a different word to say, you know,
It
that
feels like we're splitting hairs about definition.
Oh, definitely are.
Well,
that's why I'm
listen
here.
to me. Listen to me. Just I need
I'm
you to
listening.
listen to it. I need you to listen.
Listening.
So a doctor is going to measure your hormone levels, and they're not going to say. They're not going to say, like, well, as I treat this person, I need to decide, like, are they a boy or a girl? The doctor doesn't need to do that. They can just look at you, and they know your chromosomes, they know your blood type, they know what genitals you have, and they know your hormone levels. They don't need to label it. Like, they could put a label on it for their own convenience, but whether they call you intersex or not actually is probably not going to affect your treatment plan or your care.
No, I agree with that.
So, okay, so it sounds like what we're doing is we're going through all of these hoops and the minutia of what every single word means, because there's a large contingent of people called trans people and then progressives also who really want certain words to apply to them. And if they don't get those words to apply to them, they get really hurt. And that hurt is genuine. I'm not saying it's not. I understand that they don't like being misgendered and that it is a genuinely awful psychological experience. But I believe that that is the driving force behind you wanting to define things in a certain way to make it so people are called a certain thing. When, like, if you look at it practically, it doesn't matter that much.
I agree. It doesn't matter in terms of, like, you know,
So
the
then
people
why are we
will be
talking
about
about
the same. Well, I think it's interesting because when you're considering, you
Why
know,
are we
I think that they are descriptively intersex. Like, if you're talking about their body and their biology, I think they are intersex, and it's not about, like,
why are
hurting
we talking
them.
about this?
Why are we talking about? Because I think it's an interesting topic to think about. You know, whether you can change your sex or not. If you can change components.
It sounds like the real answer is sort of.
I think it is sort of. I agree. I don't think you can go from, like, male to female, but you are functionally changing components of your sex, and so you're probably going from male to intersex or female to intersex.
Yeah. So if you had 100 different ways to test whether somebody is male or female, you can make it so that you can test some of them.
I agree. I would just group anyone that isn't all of those tests in one bin or the other as intersex. That seems like I think that's about what is used in, you know, diagnosis of DSD and stuff like that as well. So, you know, that's it.
Okay, well.
Nice talking.
It's nice talking to you too.
Cool.
Frustrating.
Right.
But
well, I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to be frustrating. It's hard to get, you know, straight to the point while, you know, getting the background information. Yeah.
It was nice talking to you. Frustrating, but nice.
Well, that's nice. I'll take that.
Alright.
Kick me!
I feel like Mr. Grill Hotline doesn't have its own identity as a show yet. It does. That's why it's fucking episode 0.75. I'm going to create an identity for the show. We don't have one. The entire identity, all we have is this. That's too loud. This is all we have. This is its identity. Listen, I got... It does have an identity. Baby, bring on the next person. Hello.
Decided that you were no longer going to pretend to not have beliefs that you did, and it seemed like you were upset maybe that's a little loaded, but you didn't like how when people started to see the parts of you that you had been hiding, they became uncomfortable. And it felt like that you felt like the level of intimacy that they felt like they wanted to have with you was different than what you expected. Is that correct, or do you think that misses it?
You mean like interpersonal relationships?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how I phrased it. I kind of know what you're talking about, though. I think I was saying that I felt like isolated by feeling like the only reason people are with me or close to me is because I'm hiding part of myself. I felt closeted.
Right.
Okay.
So and obviously everybody is going to have a different level of intimacy with you, dependent on, you know, your situation relative to them. Do you feel like the hesitancy came from them because of their fear that they couldn't predict anymore, that you weren't pretending anymore? Or do you think the fear came from something else? Maybe not even fear.
You're saying
so,
like, why did I drive everybody away?
No, because I don't think your goal was to drive anybody away. I think your goal was to be more intimate.
Why did that happen?
Yeah, why do you think they... So for someone like me, I enjoy intense intimacy, but it feels like others don't. At least that's how I perceive what they're expressing to me. It feels like maybe that happened to you as well, but I want to know if you agree.
I think that we have to own some of that, because some percentage of people do enjoy conflict and intimacy level that maybe you or I will like, right? Mm-hmm. And there's probably millions of those people.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
Maybe tens or hundreds of millions. So they're definitely out there, but if you are, as I was, if you're operating in a way that actually you're not really happy with, but that you think other people will be happy with, you will populate your life with people who are not in that fairly large group of people that you probably would have a better time with. And then,
so do you think your motivation was for the benefit of your future relationships? Or do you think it was maybe selfish, or do you think it was to be beneficial for the current relationships, or maybe something else?
I just don't think I knew of a way to interact with people other than trying to make them like me.
Yeah, I agree. It feels like...
And like caretaking, facilitating and caretaking them, and just trying to...
like manage?
Manage them, yeah. Be what they want me to be.
And obviously not everybody has your best interest in mind. So it feels kind of weird. Like for me, it feels weird to live by the format that somebody else wants for me. Even if their intention seems to be good, it feels a little dangerous. That I might be shaped by them, and they might be mistaken. But then is that just my fear of getting feedback from people that might challenge my belief? Or is that a self-preservation thing that I don't want to give up my sovereignty?
Can you be more specific about what situation?
So, I'm not a religious person, but I have religious people around me. And I believe that they think making me like them would be ultimately good for me. But is that just them trying to get me to conform to their reality because they don't like that I'm outside of that I have a different set of standards and beliefs? Or is it that I just don't want to be changed because of my ego?
I don't think they're mutually exclusive. I think I get this a lot with feedback from viewers, where they're like, "Oh, I really like that you're like so weird and blah blah blah," but then they're very quickly they're like, "Can't you just like, you know, be nice can you just be like normal when you talk to people? Like when you talk to this next person, can you just be normal?
Do you think that's them signaling to you to try to disarm you so they can then criticize you? That's what it felt from my perspective.
I just think it creates cognitive dissonance when we see somebody we like who's different from us. And we want to make them more like us. I guess I just don't want to try to boil it down to any one motivation. It could be out of a genuine concern for the person. It can be selfish. It can be helpful to remind people of like how they should interact with others to get along in the world, and it can also be like crushing. I think it could be all of those.
Right, all of them at the same time, even.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you have an effective framework for maybe not disentangling, but figuring out when the motivation might be harmful, or is it just the outcome to you that you are looking for?
I don't think I try to figure out the motivation as much as just how it's striking me. Like with that, like with the previous caller who's saying, you know, I want acting as though he's trying to help me succeed by encouraging me to communicate in a way that more people will be able to understand. It's a confusing thing to hear. So part of me is like, well, you're encouraging me. You're saying you're being nice, but I feel like you're attacking me at the same time. So it's really confusing.
Yeah, that was the sense that I got on this one and the previous one, where a lot of the comments were attempting to be a criticism, even if they didn't seem to understand it.
Yeah. Right. So even if whatever the intention is, I think I'm mostly just trying to sort out how I'm feeling about what I'm hearing.
I guess that's ultimately what matters to you. It probably should. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, especially if you're making decisions about how you're going to set up your relationships. How you're feeling as you're making those decisions. I'm not saying you shouldn't be aware of how other people are feeling, but I think how you're feeling, you're making decisions about your own life is going to have to be like your compass.
Right.
As selfish as that may make you feel.
Yeah, and that's always the hard part is, am I being selfish, or am I trying to be healthy so I can do more?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you. I actually really enjoyed this. I don't get many of these.
Well, thank you for calling in. Clearly, Shaylin is the abuser. Justice for Mr. Girl. Yeah, that's fucking right. No one is asking you to be normal or nice, just not mean expressly on purpose. Well, I perceive it as you asking me to be normal, because my definition of mean is different from yours. Therapy? Oh yeah, everybody goes to therapy. Baby, let's keep it going. Keep the fires burning. Man, we got a lot of people in the waiting room. Oh. Do you think your girlfriend would be afraid to get pregnant? I watched some of your footage from that exposed video on you, and it just had me wondering. That seems like a weird question for me to try to answer.
hello.
Oh, hey, Rayforce.
You answer the question? You can do that.
No, I'm not going to answer that.
Good.
That would be a violating thing for me to try to do. That would break the boundaries of our relationship.
Yeah, well, I don't have any questions. I have accusations. I think you're a phony gender abolitionist.
How so?
Well, you call yourself Mr. Girl because, like, oh, I'm trying to break gender boundaries, but you're like, you have full facial hair, you got like full body hair, you keep muscular, you're like showing off your male body.
Let's say when I say gender abolitionist, maybe I probably.
You're gonna walk it back now?
Yeah, I'm gonna walk it back a little bit. I think I mean a gender expectation. I'm not saying everybody should violate gender norms, which is a kind of foolish interpretation of what gender abolitionist is. I think that we came in here a little foolishly. But I think what I'm saying is, I don't think we should pressure each other to adhere to gender.
I don't think you want to break the box. I think you want to make a healthier box for everyone to live in.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah.
Nice idea.
And also, even in your YouTube videos, there's like 3 things your YouTube videos are about: is politics, pedophilia, and then like basically men's rights. A lot of people come to your channel because they feel represented.
What about my feminist videos?
You got some feminist video. Those are politics. Those are normal politics. All right, who cares about that?
Wait. I don't see how men's rights is not politics or feminism. I probably have just as many. I have just as many feminist videos as I do as.
Well, there's a lot of men's rights videos that I appreciate. That's one of the reasons I showed up. I like those.
The Real Doll review is a men's rights.
I don't know what that is. I watched it. It was very disturbed. I don't know how I feel about it yet. That was a weird video. So I felt like I had a lot of feelings represented in it, and I just don't know how to deal with them. I feel like I've had problems in relationships that video had. I don't know how to deal with them.
All related.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all I had. You don't think you're a fake gender abolitionist?
I think gender abolitionism usually is people, want to say like you don't have to do this maybe I don't.
No, I don't think that's what gender abolition. But gender abolition people are usually just like want to get rid of gender entirely. They don't I do want to get rid of it.
I want to get rid of state recognition. I want to be in the same locker room. I don't think locker rooms and bathrooms should be segregated, especially
bathrooms shouldn't be. Sure. Locker rooms. There's a reason to have different locker rooms because they have different sports usually.
No. There's no at the gym. There's no reason to have different locker rooms. We should all be naked.
What's wrong with being naked with the men?
I'm not saying I want to be only me in the women's locker room. I'm saying there should be one unisex locker room.
Well, I don't think it has anything to do with gender abolition. Like that, I think that's a fine argument to make. We should all have the same locker rooms. I don't think it has anything to do with gender abolition. Right? Like gender rule abolitions, maybe, however you want to phrase that.
I don't have anything else to say.
Okay. I don't really have anything else to say about it either. I said a lot really quick. There you go.
Thanks.
Alright, goodbye.
Always good to talk to Ray Force, guys. Always good to hear from Mr. Force. My baby. The reason is that most sexual assaults happen in unisex spaces. That's true. Probably. I don't know. Is that true? Makes sense. When I say I think bathrooms and locker rooms should be unisex, I don't think that people should sexually assault each other in those bathrooms. I think that should be illegal. Reggie, my man, did you finally make it?
Yeah, finally, man.
Hey, brother, what's going on?
Uh-huh.
What's going on, brother?
It's going alright. You know, just chilling. So I had a couple of things I want to talk to you about, right?
Yeah.
There's, like a lot of things you're really wrong on. So, yeah, so, okay, so can you tell me briefly, like, why you think Brittany Simon is in a cult, or she's a cult leader?
I think that Brittany Simon has created a kind of separated from normal value system, complete with levels, numbered levels, 1 through 6, and a kind of path toward wriggling into her cult group. Why? I guess I'm saying it's a cult because it's a belief system centered around a person who you pledge allegiance to and give money to.
How do you pledge allegiance to?
You become her follower.
Yeah, but I mean, that also applies to a lot of people, right? You know, a lot of people have belief systems, and, you know, a lot of people, you have to become their followers in order to talk to them.
Okay. Can you imagine if I said, here are the 5 levels of being Mr. Grove disciple. Level 1 is you watch my videos. Level 2 is you listen to my music. Level 3 is you tell your parents you hate them. Level 4 is you start masturbating in front of whatever sex you feel like masturbating to compulsively. You have to do this like 100 times. Level 5 is you make a porn video and post it. And, once you hit level 5, then blah, blah, blah. And if you need emotional support with doing these things, you can call me and talk to me for $250 a month. Do you see how if I did that, people, maybe even you, would say, oh, that seems kind of culty?
Yeah, exactly,
okay.
yeah.
Okay, so while I agree that I'm not saying that I'm nothing like Brittany Simon, I'm saying that the more structured your brainwashing web of control over your audience is, the more likely I am to say that, oh, you're kind of making a cult.
Well, how is she controlling her audience? Like, you can totally not be part of her audience, and you can still be part of the level system. Right? You don't have to be.
I feel like if you're like, oh, have you heard of the levels? Somebody would be like, oh no, what's that? You're like, well, I'm a level. Brittany says I'm a level 4. And then they'd be like, who's Brittany? And he's like, oh, she's some YouTuber whose videos I don't watch. I just really know it into her level system. Like, no, it's all packaged together. And it's packaged with sex, too. I forgot to mention that I'm also having one-on-one sex calls, or shit, maybe she doesn't do that. I'm making porn for, but it's not like OnlyFans. Hey, I'm not saying. Listen, I'm turning into Brittany.
I don't know. I mean, it sounds like you're more of in a cult by your definition than Brittany.
No, I'm not evaluating people and telling them that you're like me, or you're not enough like me, or you should be more like me, and that you can pay me to have one-on-one calls that are like therapy sessions to make you more like me.
Yeah, but you know, if people play
I
into your
have
system,
some overlap
right?
with
People play into your
I don't really
Patreon or whatever, you get porn, right? Like,
no, you get porn. No.
You
get porn. Everybody gets porn. I don't really paywall my content. The only paywalled thing is live streams with my patrons, but they're non-pornographic.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I feel like, and this is especially what I felt like whenever I was watching the video when you're debating on the first debate, is that you're kind of upset at Brittany, and so that's probably why you're trying to like put a label on her, or like say she's in a cult. And so
you think I don't genuinely think this?
I think if you thought a lot about it, you would say that, like, yeah, I probably was more emotional into it, and you know, I should have probably thought about this before I talked to this about her.
No, I genuinely think that what she is doing is unethical. I just sat down and watched her playing the levels. And she's saying that level 1s are so useless that they need to kill themselves. And pairing that with her self-help system, and then pairing that with like sex, and pairing that with money and one-on-one sessions. I think it's unethical to have one-on-one mental health, self-help sessions with people where your system says some people should kill themselves. I think that is wrong, and I'm disturbed. I genuinely like think that's fucked up.
Yeah, but I mean, on the debate that y'all had, she also backtracked and said that, okay, well, I don't think level 1 should kill themselves.
Well, I don't give a fuck what she says. The video's still up.
Okay, well, I mean, you know, people can change their views, right? Like, you know, I'm sure there's a lot of things you've said that was fucked up, right? You wouldn't hold today. Like, yeah, I mean, like, for example, like, some of the stuff you said in college or whatever, I'm sure you wouldn't support today, right?
I do support every goddamn word I said in college. I think
Okay.
I hated Republicans a little too much.
So, people can't change their beliefs, they can never really backtrack on what they've said, right? They always have to be held account to everything they've said in the past, or...
I think that you're going out on a limb that is a very shaky limb, and I don't think your argument is very strong. If you're saying that... Here's your whole argument. If you're saying, Max, I don't think you actually have a problem with Brittany's belief system. Just because she said in a video explaining her belief system a year ago that level 1s should kill themselves, that doesn't mean that you think that what she's doing is unethical by having these one-on-one sessions or promoting this belief system or mixing it with like sex stuff. And you're saying that the reason I probably don't really believe my own criticisms of Brittany Simon is because you think I said something in college that I regret. And I don't think that that makes that much goddamn sense.
Okay, I'm saying that people can change their beliefs, right?
I don't believe Brittany has changed her beliefs.
Okay, so you think the whole conversation you had on that first debate, you think she was either lying or...
I don't think Brittany literally thinks that level 1s should kill themselves. I think she just says stuff. I think she just says irresponsible stuff without thinking it through.
Okay, that's what I was looking for, right? So, okay, so she doesn't think that level 1 should kill themselves.
No, she just says they should, but she doesn't actually think that.
Well, you know, okay, you just said that she probably said that because she was emotional about it, and you know, she probably should have took some more thought into it, right? Like, I think it's very unfair to hold her on to that.
I don't agree that it's unfair. I think it's perfectly reasonable if I had a video up that said Mr. Girl's belief system, and then I'm like, in my belief system, I think certain people should kill themselves. And then you're like, whoa, I think that's wrong that you said that. And I'm like, whoa, 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 people can't change, bro? Like, no, you said it. It's still on her channel as her, like, Bible of explaining her belief system.
Okay. So, okay, that's fine. I mean, so you totally think that there should be no person that shouldn't kill themselves at all, right? Like, no matter what they're
I don't think if your goal is to try to help people, I don't think you should get in front of a big microphone and tell people to kill themselves. I think it's bad when people kill themselves. I would almost say definitionally, it's bad. I think that is my definition of bad, is people killing themselves.
Yeah. So like nobody, like not even like Hitler or anybody, they should not kill themselves at all, right?
No, I don't think Hitler should have killed himself.
Okay. Okay. So.
Even though I'm a Jew.
Yeah.
I know.
So, I have also another thing I want to talk to you about. So, do you think if something is immoral, that means we shouldn't do it, right?
No.
Okay. So you think that if something is immoral, then
if you were a perfect person, then you shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
I'll put it that way.
Okay.
But if somebody's like, like if Shaylin's really tired and she's like, I don't want to. She's like, this can has like tomatoes paste crusted to the inside of it. Can I just throw this out? I know I should recycle it. Then like you shouldn't do that. You should wash it out and recycle it because that's the correct moral. Like,
yeah. Okay. Well, Alright, okay, this is gonna be sort of kind of like a veganism argument, right? Hopefully, okay. So, yeah, so I remember, I think you were talking to some vegan, right? I'm not sure if it was debate or if it was in a hotline, but I remember you eventually conceded that, okay, yeah, eating a chicken is immoral, or we should probably not eat animals, right?
Well, yeah, it's kind of immoral, but also I think it is a moral good to feed yourself. So,
okay.
And it's a moral good to go to sleep and take care of yourself, but it's immoral to not recycle. So, I think that, I mean, even if you're robbing a bank, you know, there is a moral good in providing money for yourself and your loved ones. It just, I don't think, outweighs the immoral act of stealing from the bank.
And so you think the moral good of eating a chicken outweighs the immorality of killing the chicken, right?
Well, I think we both probably agree that if I were marooned on an island full of chickens with no other way to sustain myself, then me starting to eat those chickens would probably be morally okay. I think.
Yeah, but you wouldn't.
Some people,
you wouldn't really use.
Let me finish my thought. Some
Okay,
people would
think about
say.
it.
Some people would say that even that's not okay. But I think most vegans would probably start eating like chickens. The question is, since we're not on an island and we do have alternatives, at what point do you draw the line and say, okay, this is wrong? And it sounds like you think that if I could just go buy tofu instead, I should do that.
Yeah, and I mean, your island example doesn't really work because you could also apply that to people as well. And you could also apply that to like a whole bunch of different scenarios.
Well, I think the island example proves that if you were on an island with, you had to eat 5 meals to survive. And there's 5 chickens and 5 human babies. And you're going to get rescued after, in like a week or something. You just need these 5 meals to make it through. So you're going to rescue it in a month. So you're saying that as a vegan, you'd be standing there scratching your head thinking like, well, I don't know. I don't know which one.
Well, first of all, I'm not actually vegan. Right?
Should I eat okay, well, so as a hypothetical vegan, you're going to be like, I don't know if I should eat a baby or a chicken. my sense of morality is like, my morality compass is spinning because I don't know what to do here. You obviously,
Yeah, but
every vegan would obviously eat the chickens because nobody cares about a fucking chicken as much as they care about a baby, no matter what they say.
Yeah, but your island example doesn't work because you could also justify eating people as well in an island, right? But you wouldn't say that eating
No, because I'm saying it's very immoral. It's more immoral to eat a person than to eat a chicken.
Okay.
That becomes more confusing. If we rescue somebody,
but I can still
say, hey, weren't there 2 of you when we dropped you when this plane crashed? Weren't there 2 of you? What happened to the other guy? And he says, well, I ate him. I had to eat him. Only one of us could survive. What?
Well, okay, but your island example.
Then you have a real moral quandary. Is that person a murderer or were they just surviving? But if you eat somebody, if I just eat Shaylin right now, and the cops come and they see that my refrigerator's full of food, they're gonna say, well, hey.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, whatever. Okay, so, I mean, I do still agree with your island example though, right? Because, of course, under severe circumstances, yeah, it would be fine to eat the chicken, and even under normal circumstances, I do believe that it will be fine to eat the chicken, whether or not you're starving or not.
Okay.
However, right, following that, right, would it then be moral to be able to fuck a dog or fuck any animal you want, right?
Well, that
because
comes back to the basis of need.
Yeah.
So if you're like a developmentally disabled 17-year-old and you have never touched or kissed another person and you're very lonely and you're very horny, very, very horny,
what if it's not
rubbing
horny?
its very horny sheep, rubbing its bottom against you. I think it is a morally good thing to do. Now, if you're a popular person and you've got cheerleaders texting you, sending you Snapchats, and then you have a meek, scared sheep, and you fuck that, then I would say that's more immoral.
Okay, well, I don't care about if it's more immoral. I want to know is it immoral to do that, right?
Well, that's what I keep trying to tell you, is that I think it's a balance of the good and the bad in the situation. It's obviously a little bad, but like in certain situations,
Yeah.
it's understandable why you would do something like that.
Yeah, but I'm just saying under normal circumstance, right? Like you're not, the sheep is not horny. You can probably get on Tinder, you can probably, fuck some chick or whatever, but you still decide to fuck the sheep regardless.
Yeah, then I think
right?
that gets into being more immoral.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that, would it be, because you justify the fact that, okay, we can eat chicken because it's morally good, right?
No,
would it
I'm
be
saying,
morally
I'm
good?
saying each of us has to make this consideration of how wrong is it and how good is it. That's all.
Okay. But we understand.
I think
me
it's
and you
more
would-
wrong for me to eat a chicken if I'm not hungry. If I'm just like, I'm just bored and I just feel like eating something, I'm gonna have one more chicken.
Yeah, but you said that it's morally good to eat a chicken, right?
It's also morally good if you're
Yeah.
hungry, if you need it.
So is it morally good to fuck a chicken as well?
Well, you need that too, so a little bit, but it's also wrong.
Okay.
All right, listen. You can have the last word, but I have to end this.
I can't ask any more questions, or
you can ask
I
one
have to
more
wrap this
question,
up?
or you
Okay.
can say your final thing. Ask a question and answer it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think you really do need to think about the whole Brittany Simon situation. I do think you're a little bit mad because, I guess, I mean, I guess I'm not sure exactly why you were mad. I mean, you just seem kind of
Why would
upset
I
on
be
the
mad at
video.
Brittany Simon? I never interacted with her or talked to her before that.
Yeah, but the whole reason why you had the whole debate is because of something she said previously, right?
Oh,
like, yeah, like she said something about you, or
I mean, not really. I messaged her and I was like, hey, do you still think like all the stuff you said about me? And she was like, no. And I was like, okay, I figured. She was like, no, I think your work is interesting and I like you. So, I don't think there was that bad.
Well, I mean, I still think if you think it over and, you actually, like, look at her positions, I'm pretty sure you'll be able to understand that, like, oh, no, maybe she's not really in a cult, and, maybe I went too harsh on her.
My problem is not that she is intentionally forming a cult. My problem is that she's accidentally forming a cult, where she's implying that some people should kill themselves. I think that's wrong. I like Brittany Simon as a person. I like Brittany.
Yeah.
I'm not even mad at her now.
But by your whole, like, argument, right, Destiny could also be forming a cult as well, because he said that he thinks some people should kill themselves.
Kind of. He doesn't have a code that says some people should kill themselves.
Well, the only difference is that he does. You just have to know the code, and then you automatically have a cult.
Well, the cult part is connected to the code, not to the part where you're saying some people should kill themselves. It's the quality of the cult is dictated by, does your code that you're asking people to adhere to, as your system that you're part of, does that say some people should kill themselves? If the answer is yes, then you're in a creepier cult. Yeah.
Yeah, but
I don't think Destiny has a code that he wants people to adhere to. Like, I don't see Destiny saying like, well, what level are you in the Destiny system?
Yeah, but I'm sure, Destiny would like people to act a certain way, right? Like, I'm sure.
Yeah, but that's true of everybody.
No, I don't think so, right? I mean, would you say that's true for you? Like, you want people to act a certain way?
Yeah, I started a stream by saying I want to Mr. Girlify the world by giving people, I don't want everybody to act a certain way, but I want to at least get people to see things through my eyes sometimes. I want people to understand my views.
Okay. Okay, I still disagree because if you look at Destiny's whole, like, system and all that, right? So he has, like, he has a tier system where at the very top, you can be closely connected to him, you can talk.
That's a tier system of donations. While that is somewhat cult-like, that is not the same as I will pronounce you as being a certain type of person if you give me.
I mean, I feel like Destiny's system is more culty than Brittany's system because Destiny's system, you have to pay him, and you also have to be very loyal to him, and you also have to you also have to be loyal to his friends, right? His co-buddies, right? In order for you to be a tier 4 sub and not get banned. Also, if you're a belief fan,
if Destiny wants you to adhere to a belief system that Destiny is like a good streamer or a cool guy, in order to be able to donate money to him to be a tier 4, I don't know if that's true. I think that's pretty different from having like a Bible of a tiered belief system of not a level 4 tier of my fan, but a level 4 as a person. All right, listen, I have to end this. Until next time, Reggie. Until next time.
Okay.
All right, that was Reggie, everybody. What's the utility of calling it a cult, though? That I think there's a lack of responsibility in how she is pulling people into the belief system, and I think calling it a cult signals that lack of responsibility. That there's a very selfish nature to it, and a danger to it, that you could become wrapped up in this thing and you kind of bring it. I'm calling it a cult as like a one. More, baby. Oh yeah, endless. Just keep them coming. I think we gotta keep this so fast paced that when I kick somebody, you're just like, all right, let's just one after the other. I'm okay with being a destiny. It's all about Ms. Simon's ego. Mr. Girl should read about Krishnamurti. Okay, I'll put on.
Hello?
Hello.
What's up, Mac?
What's up with you?
Alright, I've come to talk to you because I've made a grave mistake in my life.
Okay.
So, last year, during the summer, I was working at a McDonald's and I met somebody there, my coworker, who, after becoming pretty close with them, said they wanted to move in with me. And I said, sweet. So we did it in October of last year. And the first 2 months went by pretty well. But there was one caveat, and that was that they were late on like just numerous bills, not like all of them, but just something here and there, like the electricity bill 1 month and then the rent another month. 4 out of 5 months of our first time living there. And this was something that I wasn't too unhappy about at the time because I had money and I could cover it. But the rental deposit was 5 months late. And the only reason that we were allowed to move in was because the landlord was my uncle. And so at the end of those 5 months, I told him, I said...
Your uncle?
Yeah, my uncle was the landlord. And at the end of those 5 months, I told him, I'm like, hey, listen, like, if you don't... Like, you're lucky I didn't kick you out. Like, a normal person would have kicked you out. And that was the first time I had threatened his living situation. The second time was because in an agreement that we made with the landlord, because there is no lease, in the agreement that we made with the landlord, we get a $200 discount on our rent if we...
Banging this person?
No. Just a friend from work. We were, I mean, it never really got to that. It never would have, I guess I'm saying. But the second time I threatened to kick them out was because they broke this agreement that said that we would get a $200 discount on our rent if we...
Alright, baby. I don't know what happened, but they're gone. Let's just keep it going. How do I get on the show? Oh, you would join the Discord. Discord.gg/MrBro and talk to Baby with a question. He left a call. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. Let's see what happens next, though, baby. Oh, yeah. Oh, hey, you're back.
I guess my question talk button closed out of Discord. So
Okay, what's going on? Yeah, what's going on? What's the rest of the story?
So, the second time, as I said, agreement with the landlord, $200 rent on the discount on the rent. If they help take care of like the yard and the weeds and the general like outside maintenance. And this is like a thing that we kind of had to do, right? And they weren't willing to do it because I guess the problem that they were having with me was that I was like doing little things to help out around the house, like do dishes.
Hey, what's the point of this?
Okay, so eventually he lost, he exploded on me, and said he was going to move out and like break the agreement that we had. And no, the roommate.
Okay.
The roommate threatened to, well, they basically said that they were going to move out by the end of the month.
I thought the roommate was a girl.
Roommate is a trans man, female to male.
Did they transition during the story?
Yeah, so you'll hear me jumble the pronouns up a little bit. And in the state that I live in, right, and I'm pretty sure this goes for most states in the U.S., like, what we had going on was a verbal contract that would have been considered legally binding. So even though there wasn't a lease, what they were doing was illegal. And so we got into this big fight, and he like refused to meet with me in person. And I said, like, hey, like, if you don't stay, I'm gonna have to take you to court for that money that you're gonna owe me for the rent that you would have had to pay. And then I find out a month later we get into another fight. I'm not gonna give you I'll spare you the details of that fight, but
yeah, we gotta get through this.
Yeah, right. He tells me that he lied about moving out because he just wanted me to listen to him to do the dishes or like just little things like that. And so he lied about moving out and put me through like 2 weeks of high stress living, just to get me to like help out around the house. And I don't know how to feel about that, because like after that whole thing, after threatening to move out like illegally, I kind of didn't really want to live with this person anymore. But at the same time, as of right now, like I can afford to live by myself, but it would be really nice if I didn't have to do that money-wise. And so like I'm kind of on edge. Like the third fight that we got into, I threatened to kick them out again. But it's not really threats. It's more like me saying, listen, if I were literally anybody else, like, you would be gone. You know, your next
That's what your uncle said to you.
Right. Exactly.
You have a chain of bad boundaries leading to you treating your uncle badly, and then your friend treating you badly. And we even know where you learned it.
Well, my uncle doesn't really know about a lot of it. I called my uncle.
Your uncle is being a pussy.
Well, so I think the problem is I haven't really told my uncle what's going on, other than that, hey, my roommate is trying to move out. What do I have to say to them, like, to protect myself legally here? And that's the only real phone call that we ever had. And then I sat down with him a month later.
Your uncle let you live there for 5 months without you putting a security deposit down.
Right. You are right about that.
See, do you see how this gets passed down from generation to generation? And now you've learned this behavior. You need to unlearn it now, which is why you've come here to me, for me to tell you that you shouldn't let somebody live in your house for free, and neither should your uncle.
So the situation now is that
you should go be homeless for 5 months to make up for it.
The bills are getting paid on time now. The problem is just that we fight all the time, and he kind of tried to like screw me over with the whole moving out thing. And so I'm waiting until October of this year, and I'm gonna tell him like, hey, listen, you're out. You
Bud, it's May. It's May 21st.
Right.
I don't think this is a satisfactory.
I don't think so either, which is, I guess, that's the reason why I'm coming down, because I don't really know what to do. Because, like,
well, it sounds like you know.
Repeat it for me just in case, because I think it's pretty obvious. I'm not.
I think you should think of this person so that you can have a woman who doesn't make you feel unsafe.
Now, what if I were to tell you that I don't really think I have any contenders for another roommate other than like a stranger that I met on Craigslist, which I'm not really comfortable with? Then do you think that it would be worth it for me to just tough it out? And
no, I think you should either live by yourself or rent to a stranger on Craigslist.
Okay, alright.
I honestly, I think you'll find if you put an ad out and some like 35-year-old female scientist who's like, oh yeah, I work all day, I get up at 6 in the morning, I go to work and I come back at like 9 p.m. I go to bed. Here's first class of security and you're never gonna see me. But you'd probably be like, oh, you know what? This actually is
maybe like I'm younger, right? Like I'm 20 years old, and so I don't know if I have. Yeah, I don't. It's pretty obvious, but I don't know.
I lived with a lawyer when I was 23 years old. I had a female lawyer as a roommate. She was 42.
I guess, and you probably agree with. I guess the only way to find out is for me to just try it.
I said there were 4 of us living in this apartment, but she was the only one who I was like super horny for. And I said, is it gonna bother you if I walk back and forth to the bathroom naked in the middle of the night? I texted her, and she said, that's fine, but I'm gonna set up a motion with after cleaning.
That's interesting. Yeah. Nothing like that's going on here. It's more just.
That's because you're 20. You're not 23 yet.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think you can find some pretty normal people on Craigslist who are going to be way less. Like, this person is not a good person to have way worse than the average person. You can literally pick a random person from Craigslist, and the odds are you're going to do much better than you're doing. And like, just hold the boundary. You don't have to be mean. You don't have to be mean.
Yeah, I never really am.
Yeah, I can see that. Just be like, hey, look, I don't think it's working out. I want you to move out, and we'll still be buddies, but no more business entanglements because this is
I'll give it, and this is gonna sound like such a pussy cop out, but I'll give it another month. If something happens again, and I guarantee you it will, I'll
what I'm saying is I think you already don't feel safe in this situation.
Yeah,
so
no, absolutely.
Even if nothing happens for the next 4 months, you're going to spend those 4 months feeling unsafe.
Wouldn't you agree though that it would be a much cleaner process for both of us if I had like a real reason?
I think it's again, if you think it would be a cleaner process for you, I don't think it's cleaner for you to allow somebody who treats you like shit and steamroll you to live in your house.
Okay. Alright. Yeah, I'd probably agree with that. I don't know. A lot of it is me coping because like I said, I fucked up.
You don't want to end up like your uncle, kid.
Maybe
You've
not.
seen where that got him. You don't want to end up like
he lives in a beautiful house, and
oh yeah,
he collects money for me every month, and I should.
He's probably a pussy whip. Maybe.
Right.
Well,
That's
you want to live in a beautiful house, forking all your money over to some woman who fucking tells you what to do all the time. And you go ahead, live your life. I'm telling you, you're at the crossroads, bucko. This is where you can grab life by the balls and twist.
I'm just holding out for 2 months when my girlfriend graduates college. That's when, not 2 months, 2 years. When my girlfriend graduates college in 2 years, I'm just gonna live with her, assuming everything goes well.
Ask
but
your
until
girlfriend's boyfriend if it's okay with him if you kick your roommate out. Jesus fucking Christ.
He doesn't like it. All right. You have a good night, Max. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You too. Next, baby. Next. You do have to know what you're doing, though, like lease stuff and eviction stuff is hard. Yeah. So when I say grab life by the balls and twist, I'm saying, and please follow all applicable local laws and regulations before engaging in the twisting motion. Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey. Hey, I watched the Real Doll review, and I also watched The Fiend. I think you're... Yeah, I think you're a really excellent filmmaker, and I think you consistently tap into things that I've never heard anybody talk about.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I just wanted to maybe share a bit. Well, actually, forget that. I dated a girl when I was 20 that I had fallen pretty hard for. And I wasn't very good to her. There was a time where I had pushed her. There were times where I probably pressured her. There was one time I can remember in particular where my dad had gotten drunk and he kept barging into my room hey, you need to do the dishes, you need to do that, very clearly trying to cock block me. And I eventually was just hey, let's go to your house. And she was it was clear that she wasn't comfortable with the situation, but she agreed after, I don't remember her being super clear on it or anything either. I don't think it took a lot of convincing, but I do know that it was certainly a problem. And when we broke up later, she had said that she had reminded me of her dad, which was somebody who had abused her.
You reminded her of her dad?
Yeah. And for the next 3 years, I didn't date anybody. And I spent a lot of time working on myself, but I also, in those 3 years, there was certainly a pity spiral or whatever. And I can kind of relate. I could see how in the future, when I've dated, because I've dated people since, and I'm happy to report, this sounds kind of bad, but I'm happy to report that at least I wasn't the crazy one in those situations. But I feel after watching that, the Real Doll review, that I could see how because she was never really clear with things, and she was kind of some things kind of remind me of her. She would be driving and she would see roadkill on the road and she would start crying and stuff like that. But later on,
you're saying you feel like she should keep her shit together better if she sees roadkill.
Yeah.
You don't want to parent her every time you see a dead squirrel.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And I don't want to I don't know, I would prefer, if I was in a relationship, to have somebody who's combative or whatever, or so if somebody is agreeable and then they come back to you and they're hey, I feel like you did this or something like that.
You want somebody who holds still in bed but who fights back when you're talking, not the opposite.
I don't even know if I would want somebody to hold still, but yeah, I just don't know if I would.
I was just
Sorry,
joking
go on.
about that. That was just
Gotcha.
a joke about my review. I know you're saying we have some
yeah,
things. We have some things in common, but not everything. I understand.
for sure. But yeah, like for the most part, like I can like I understand exactly where you're going. I think a lot of people don't see you in that like frame or whatever, but I've seen like all your hello horse, goodbye horse videos and stuff like that. And then after seeing those two films, it was like it changed my perspective on you a lot as well.
You see me as a victim now, a victim of Shaylin's domineering squirrel crying.
Yeah, but there's always like two sides to everything, I guess, right?
Of course.
Yeah, but like everybody should certainly hear out both sides and stuff like that.
Fuck, my camera just died. That was awkward.
Should I just keep going?
Yeah, just keep talking.
Okay, yeah. I later had a relationship with a trans person, and it was pretty good at first. But I like there was one time where I got high. I had like ate an edible, and she was sitting next to me, and they were like rubbing their foot on my leg, and I kind of realized while I was high, I don't know if it was true or not, but I was like, are they like scratching their foot and they're using my leg?
Camera's off.
What? Yeah, I know. My camera died.
Yeah. And
I have to. I'm trying to get Shaylin to help me. Shaylin, if you hear this, will you bring the white cord from the living room, in here, like, right now? Because I'm in trouble. I'm in deep shit. Okay, we'll see if she does that, and if she doesn't, then I'm gonna have to just like go do that. All right, she's. I think she's gonna do it. Anyway, yeah, keep talking. I'm listening.
Do you know? Have you ever heard of the term the ick?
The ick? No.
Yeah.
What's that?
It's like when somebody does something or like they do something that's unflattering and it like kind of ruins them. It's kind of like a contemptuous thing if you think about it.
Oh.
But like I would imagine that most people have experienced that.
That ruins things?
Like I don't know, somebody does something that like you find unattractive.
Oh, and then they're just like gross forever?
Yep, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, so I kind of got in that.
You got
Sorry, say that again.
There's the last part of this, so you gotta bring it home here.
Oh, okay. And I just realized that every time I got high, I like regretted it, and later we broke up because she had like an absolute meltdown, and it kind of made me realize that like the whole idea with trans people is kind of to control how you see them, and it can be like really scary when you're in the car with this person and they've lulled you into this false sense of security, believing that they're a woman, only for you to like face the wrath of a man.
Oh.
Kind of ruins them. It's kind of organic.
I'm trying to get Shaylin to help me. Shaylin, if you hear this, will you bring the white cord from the living room, in here, like, right now? Because, I'm in trouble. I'm in deep shit. Okay, we'll see if she does that, and if she doesn't, then I'm gonna have to just, like, go do that. Alright, I think she's gonna do it. Anyway, yeah, keep talking. I'm listening.
Do you know, have you ever heard of the term the ick?
The ick? No.
Yeah.
What's that?
It's like when somebody does something or like they do something that's unflattering and it like kind of ruins them. It's kind of like a contemptuous thing if you think about it.
Oh.
But like I would imagine that most people have experienced that.
That ruins things?
Like I don't know, somebody does something that like you find unattractive.
Oh,
or
and they're just like gross forever?
Yep, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, so I kind of got in that. Sorry, say that again.
There's the last part of this, so you gotta bring it home here.
Oh, okay. And I just realized that every time I got high, I like regretted it. And later we broke up because she had like an absolute meltdown, and it kind of made me realize that like the whole idea with trans people is kind of to control how you see them. And it can be like really scary when you're in the car with this person and they've lulled you into this false sense of security, believing that they're a woman, only for you to like face the wrath of a man.
Oh. Can you tell me wait, so what happened? You're saying that you felt like she was a woman, but then she snapped and it felt like she was a man?
Yeah, she had like gone on a walk or something for a few hours, and I hadn't heard from her because she had like turned her phone off or something. And it was like 4 a.m. And like when she came back, I was like I like picked her up or whatever because she finally had texted me, and I was like, hey, what the hell? Like, I didn't know what the hell happened to you, like, you know. And she just like freaked out and started screaming and like punching my car and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, that's it. And it kind of made me feel like I don't know, just like that, like I had been lulled into feeling like this person was somebody that I could feel safe around.
To not like turn into a man?
Yeah.
Did that feel like did that change your view of all trans women or just that one?
I think it changed my view on like a lot of people in general. Just like everybody wants to kind of have their cake and eat it too. Like everyone wants to be a woman and have this and have that, but they also want, like, I don't know, they want to have the benefits of both sides of like every argument.
In defense of trans women, cis women also do that.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why I said it like kind of changed my view on a lot of people.
Yeah. Because like cis women will be all girly, and then they'll start roaring at you, and you're like, oh Jesus, fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's kind of just made it difficult for me to even want to pursue relationships, I guess. But I would imagine that a lot of people feel that way. Like, I think the portrayal of a relationship as hard is like right on the nose, right?
Okay, that's it.
Okay.
Next caller. I appreciate you calling in and sharing your tales.
No problem. Have a good day.
Okay, you too. Next, baby. More. It seems kind of silly that's what it took for him to realize she wasn't a biological female. Well, I don't think he's saying that he thought she was a biological female. I think he was saying she thought that the mindset of feeling like a woman or acting like a woman reached deeper into her psyche than it sounds like it did in this instance. But again, I think that also happens with, with everybody. I think cis women are pretending to be women. Hello.
Hey, what's up?
Nothing. What's up with you?
Not much. Just chilling in waiting room. How's your stream?
It's okay. you know, it's still under construction. We still see the scaffolding and the rough edges, but it's coming along.
You feeling good about it? Feel like it's progressing?
I guess, yeah. You know, I can be a little perfectionistic, so I feel like I'm going off a little half-cocked, but also you know, that's okay.
Good.
I'm trying to find my way, you know? I'm trying to figure out... I like kind of being bad at things. I like struggling to, like, figure out, like, a new format and figure out how it's all going to work together. But at the same time, I like being good at things. So it's a, you know, it's a double-edged sword.
I mean, you're not going to be good at it if you're not bad at it first. That's...
I guess. I could remember to plug my fucking camera in, though. I mean,
no,
Shaylin
man,
just,
you couldn't. I'm
Shaylin
sorry.
Shaylin just had to come bail me out.
No, I think you're SOL on that one. It already happened. It's done.
It did. Yeah. All right, what's going on?
Yeah, I wanted to see if you would conversion therapy me.
From what to what? What do you want to be, baby?
Oh, yeah. I'm trans, and I remember you making an offhand comment like a while ago. I don't remember when or where. That you think you could talk a trans person out of being trans. So I don't know if that's something that you still stand by, if that's like sort of a offhand comment you made.
I can talk anybody into being trans, out of being trans. I can make you gay, straight. I can talk you into or out of being a pedophile, so don't fuck with me.
Oh, my man.
That's right.
All right.
Whatever you want, whatever you don't want. And you're not even going to know what I talked you into or out of and for another couple of weeks. You're going to think one thing, and then all of a sudden you're going to be like, oh, Jesus. Okay, so seriously, the reason... I never said that, okay? What I said is that when I first started dating Shaylin, my female woman girlfriend, lady, after we'd been dating for about 2 weeks, she said that she was thinking of starting a low dose of testosterone to make herself more androgynous because she's non-binary. And I said, I think you hate women, and that you are doing this because you hate women and you don't want to be one. And that's fine that you feel that way. But now that we're dating, I feel some co-ownership of your body. That's my body that you're fucking with now. So you can't just do whatever you want to it. And I don't want you to do that. So will you just not? And then she said, okay.
Okay. And that was that like one conversation? Is this over a course of a couple of weeks?
That was one conversation.
One conversation. I'll be damned. Well, she dodged a bullet, man. Like, good for you.
Yeah, I mean, people talk about it like she got hit by a bullet and that conversation was a bullet. But I feel like, you know, I think if you can be talked out of taking testosterone in one conversation, you probably shouldn't take it. But again, I also take full credit. I'm very good at talking people into and out of stuff, so I don't know. Also, there were more conversations about her wanting me to refer to her as my partner, not my girlfriend. She was like, I don't like the word girlfriend. And I was like, yeah, well, you don't like being a girl, but you are my girlfriend. And you can, I was like, you can call me whatever you want. You want to call me your fucking grandfather or your maid or your like daughter. I don't give a fuck what you call me, but I'm going to call you my girlfriend. Stop trying to control what words I use. I won't control what words you use. And let's just like see what happens.
Okay.
Okay. So this was all in part of a conversation I had with Destiny where we were talking about, whether people are just like innately trans, or if there's any like if you think you're trans or you feel you're trans, does that mean you definitely are, or is it possible therapy can help treat gender dysphoria, or if being trans also is partly like a philosophical belief system, like can that shift where like maybe you shift from thinking I'm in the wrong body to like I don't like my body or I have bad feelings about my body. So then I told that story as an example of like, well, if I were super affirming the way I'm supposed to be, and I was like, oh, that's beautiful that that's what you are, then yeah, definitely you should take whatever hormones you need to make your body line up with how you feel. I think I would have been doing a disservice to my girlfriend by doing that. So this is what I did and this is what happened. I think some people have extrapolated from that I therefore believe that I have the magic power to just like change people's like feelings about their bodies or belief systems. I never said that. It's just a story. And it's not. And the story is not. People are also like, oh, you think just because that happened was one time with your girlfriend that this applies to every? No, I don't. I obviously already fucking thought that before I met her, or I wouldn't have said that. If I thought the way progressives think, when I met her and she said, I'm going to do X, Y, Z to my body, I would say, oh, it's your body, it's your choice, it's your temple, you do whatever you want, girl.
No, you probably would have gone further than that. You would have, like, tried to validate the shit out of her, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And how long ago was that? Like years, right?
2.5 years.
2.5 years. Alright. Good on y'all. Do you mind if I ask a little bit about, you said more like the philosophical, spiritual, or like, I guess my question for you is, what do you think the whole trans shit is at this point?
There seems to be a few different schools of thought. Obviously, every trans person seems to have their own kind of experience. And what many trans people I've interviewed are like, well, I think I'm really trans, but all the other trans people are faking it, or they're not real trans people. Like, everybody's got their own, like, view system. But the mainstream narrative of, like, how are we supposed to accept and talk to trans people seems to be, currently, trans people, a trans woman, for example, has always been a woman. And it's like realizing you're gay. It's not a decision you make, it's a realization you make about not what you want to become, but what you already are. And trans women are not necessarily male, they might actually be female. I think the current mainstream stance is, we don't know. We're at a point where it's offensive to refer to a trans woman as biologically male. So somebody will say, well, biology is complicated, so either don't talk about it or just say you don't know. Which is, I think, why the new Supreme Court Justice answered, I don't know. I think that's the progressive current stance is, I don't know what a woman is, and I can't answer this question. And so being trans is, you internally, where it matters, and this is what I think of as a soul, you're a woman. And so you have to make your body line up with your internal existence so that you don't have the jarring, horrible experience of dysphoria, which is feeling like your body is wrong, which is an incredibly jarring, awful psychological experience that somebody without it can't understand or, with progressives, question.
Okay. Just wondering, do you believe in like any sort of inherent self, like a soul? Or are you... No, nothing.
Right, so when I say the trans shit is like bullshit to me, I also think the cis shit is bull. I don't believe that like cis people are in the right body. But then I understand the progressive pushback is like, that's a very, you know, privileged position to take if it's something you've never had to deal with.
Okay. So do you think that the majority of like your I don't want to call it vitriol, you don't actually seem like super hateful. I feel like you just say shit that people interpret as hateful because they're trying to interpret it that way.
Provoke some vitriol, but I don't think I really spread too much vitriol.
Yeah, you don't seem, I mean, I've seen you get angry a couple of times. I don't watch your shit that often, but yeah, anyway, that's beside the point. Oh, fuck. I lost my train of thought.
You said, you were asking if I believe in an inherent form of soul or self, and then you said, I don't see, you said, do you think any of the vitriol you were going to say spew? I don't know.
Spew. Yeah.
Spew or spread.
Yeah, so you don't believe in sort of an inherence for anyone then? Outside of gender, as far...
Yeah, not really, no.
Okay, cool.
Like, I get really annoyed when people are like, are you a Jew? Are you really a Jew? Or I'm like, there's no such thing as a real Jew. It's a made-up fucking thing.
Yeah. Shit, why do you think everyone... I'm trying to think of the best way to ask this. Why do you think everyone fucking hates you then? I'm trying to figure out, is the cuties review? Is it just the cuties review? Is that where we're at?
I think the similarities between the cuties review and the gender stuff is that I am usually saying something discrediting about other people's identities. So with the cuties thing, it's not that people don't hate me because I think I'm a pedophile. They hate me because I think you're a pedophile. Like, I'm saying, like, well, if you thought normal people are here and pedophiles are all the way over here in a big group, I'm saying it's more like normal people are here and pedophiles are, like, you know, right next to us and kind of intermingling, coming and going. Like, the lines are blurred, and I think people get really angry about that. And then also, I think the fact that I'm, like, not ashamed of saying that, or not that ashamed of it, I think that bothers people. And then with the trans stuff, I think I'm telling people, like, I don't believe your experience of yourself. Like, I don't agree with your experience of yourself. It doesn't ring true for me with cis people or trans people. And I think that makes people really mad.
How would you describe your internal experience then?
Of my sex, of being a man.
I would say, how do you visualize yourself? Like, how do you?
I think that so emotionally, I think you're getting to something. I think this is helpful. This is helpful for me. So emotionally, I usually approach trying to figure out my feelings by just thinking, like, what am I feeling? Like, and I think emotions are physical sensations. So I'm like, what is my body feeling? How am I feeling? And then once I know how I'm feeling, then I'll start to try to work backward as to, like, why am I feeling that way? Whereas I think a lot of people get lost in, they want to decide why they're feeling what they're feeling, or they decide on a narrative first, or they decide on how they're actually, like, experiencing stuff. And I think the same way about like sex. So if I'm watching cuties and I'm like, oh, like, watching this 11-year-old twerking is hot. That's kind of weird. I'm not going into it thinking, like, I identify as a straight, normal cis male who would never ever think anything uncomfortable or weird or sexual about anyone under 18. I just walk into, I'm you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm deriving my definition of my sexuality and my identity after my experience. And I think that's probably, like, the primary class that's happening. And I think people are like, if you're not a pedophile, then you should ignore all of your pedophilic experiences and don't share them. Because if you share them and then also say, well, I'm not really a pedophile, but, like, I did have this sort of, like, I had this thought. Or I've had more than this thought, but I've had pedophilic thoughts. I don't think that means I'm a pedophile, though. That is threatening to people's boxes that they put themselves in.
Yeah, it stops them from otherizing, I mean, in this case, pedophiles. Or you could say it about Nazis, you could say it about trans people, you could say it about any group, really. Yeah, okay, cool. Oh, right on. I was hoping this would be more angry. But this is chill. No, not really. I don't know.
You think
man.
I was
trying to make
angry at you?
Nah, I'm trying to make a YouTube video, and this is super boring. So I don't know.
Wait, you're trying to make a YouTube video on what?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just, like, fucking throwing shit at the wall and seeing if it sticks. I haven't done a ton of, like, YouTube or streaming or anything, so I'm also learning. So yeah, I don't know. I'll probably, like, review this conversation and see if any of it's worth saving, and if it is, you know, with your blessing, I might upload it to YouTube.
You have my blessing, as long as it's
Appreciate it,
transformative content. Well, no, I guess I mean, I don't know. I don't know how that
I'll put
works.
some
You're
music
in
over
the
it.
call.
I think I can just take it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I figured I'd be polite.
Well, you shouldn't be.
Oh, well, too late. You already said yes. No backsies. Yeah, thanks for having me on, bud.
Thanks for coming and for your questions. I feel like you helped me figure out a kind of central clash that I've been having with people.
Cool. Well, I'm glad it was positive.
Why, thanks.
I like that.
Do work out.
Me too.
All right. Well, have a good night.
All right, you too. Bye. DMCA. You wanted to know She wanted to know Mr. Bill.
Hello?
Hello?
Hi.
Hello?
Hi.
Are you in the car?
No, I have my AC on. It's hot.
Oh, okay. What's going on?
No. Oh, I'm saying. I was here last week.
Did we talk last week?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Benny. I remember. All right. What do you want?
I just have a real quick. Well, I have some things that I want to say, but I just have a real quick question about the stream tonight because I haven't been watching.
Okay.
Did somebody come on here and talk to you about anime?
No. Oh yeah, you were saying Death Note and whatever.
Yeah. No, it's because Baby told me that somebody was gonna come on here and tell you that I'm an idiot and my tastes in anime are weird and stupid.
Okay. No,
I just wanted to know if I should listen for that when I replay the bot, but
hasn't happened yet.
Okay. How you been since the Real Doll review dropped?
Benny, what the fuck do you want?
Oh, I'm sorry. Listen, I have a COVID conspiracy theory.
Okay.
No, you mean.
You remember the Popeye's chicken sandwich?
Enough blind jokes.
Yeah.
When the Popeye's chicken sandwich dropped, everybody was going crazy. Oh, Popeye's chicken sandwich! People were getting shot, beat up in line. It was all the craze. Then all of a sudden, boom, vanished. Right? Then, pandemic starts a few months later. Then all of a sudden, Popeyes come back. They go, listen, brought the chicken sandwiches back. I'm like, that's kind of weird, right? Then, another few months later, or however long later, Delta variant drops. Then Popeyes comes back again. We got chicken nuggets. Weird. All I'm saying is, they might have put COVID in the chicken.
Isn't there a website where it takes, I can't remember what it's called, but like the big statistics aggregator, and it just finds like super weird correlations between things that have nothing to do with each other, but you can find like, if you have enough data sets, you can find like weird like 99% correlations between completely related things.
They want you to believe that these things are completely unrelated.
I also want to.
Yeah, no, I'm just trolling. I haven't eaten the Popeye chicken sandwich because I obstinately am believing in this conspiracy theory, but I know it's stupid. I just thought it was weird and funny. And the second thing I want to say was, why are you saying, oh no?
Spit it out, spit it out. 'Cause this is, it's too meaningless.
Oh, you want that meaning? I thought the hotline was for memes, good memes.
Yeah, good memes.
That's toxic.
I want it to be meaningful.
Okay, here's a meme.
Okay.
So, I'm just gonna run you through a little scenario, real quick. So let's say you and Eminem, you made a rap track together. Max and Marshall, actually Eminem.
Yeah.
And you got a lot of money, and you had a Lamborghini, and we became good buds. And you pulled up, and you're like, "Hey, Ben, hop in my whip." I said, "Sure." I get in the car. I'm like, "Wow, this car is really awesome." And it's summertime, so it's a little hot. So you put on the AC, and wow, Max is really blasting the AC right now. So I go, "Hey, Max, it's a little cool in here. Can you turn the AC off?" And then you responded to me, "Oh, just because my car is really awesome doesn't mean I have to turn off the AC." If that happened, we might have to fight, right? Because of how ridiculous of a response. You know exactly what it is that I'm saying. You know what it is that I mean, right?
Yeah.
So why is it that in that scenario, we can, understand what each other means, but when it comes to slurs, we just pretend like all the nuance and what it is that people are saying, and the idea that, you know, the same word can have different definitions. Why does that just go out the window?
You're talking about the N word?
And the F word, pretty much just those two. Because I don't, like, other than those two, I feel like every other, at least racial slurs, like, there's only like one meaning, you know?
Yeah, the N word can just mean like guy, or it can mean friend, or it can mean, you know, slur.
You feel the same way about that?
Yeah, the F word, yeah, that can be more affectionate or jokey, or it can be actually hateful. I agree with you, man.
What do you think we should do?
I think we should. I think you're right to. I think we should challenge people in. I don't know if we should start using the N-word willy-nilly, but we should start being more honest about how often we do use it, and I think we should encourage people to be honest about what they actually think about it.
Well, that's what you have to do, because I'm black, so I don't have to do any of that. Say it.
Well, you can say it, but I still think that you should encourage other people to be honest about why they're saying it, why they're interpreting it the way they are. You know?
Yeah, but I'll always just come off looking like a coon if I do that. So I'm not sure. I mean, it might be worth. I don't really want to go to bat for white people that hard to say the N-word, you know. But I do think it's dumb.
Well, I think you should go to bat. If it's what you believe in.
You're probably right.
We need you.
But you need me?
Yeah.
Say the N-word?
We need allies.
Black allies for white people.
Exactly.
That's all I really had to say.
All right. Well, thanks for calling in, Benny.
Peace out, dog.
Peace out. How do I get on the hotline? I have a problem with Mr. Girl. Oh my gosh, you got to get in the Mr. Girl Discord, discord.gg/Mr. Girl, and then you talk to Baby in the request channel. Gotta say, I feel weird when non-blacks say the N-word in public. Yeah, we have a ways to go. The only person I say the N-word in front of is Shaylin. Is that true? I think so. I'm usually using it to refer to her. In a friendly way, though. It's the only term of endearment that I ever use.